Hello students, welcome to the English class. Today I am going to start with a new chapter of your book Vistas, that is Ivan Tries an O Level, which is the seventh chapter of your supplementary reader, and it is written by Colin Dexter. But before beginning with this chapter, I would like to ask you all a question, that how many of you love watching detective serials or love reading detective novels? I know almost all of you love watching detective TV serials like Byomkesh, Bakshi, CID, etc. So this chapter also you will find very interesting, and in this chapter you are going to read about a prisoner named Evans who is suffering from congenital kleptomaniac and who makes a plan to escape from the prison on the day of his German language O level exam. And the jail authorities, on the other hand, they are ready to cover up any sort of risk with him. So in this chapter we are going to see, or we are going to read, whether he is able to succeed in his escape or not. So before beginning with this chapter, I would like to give you a brief introduction of this author, normal Colin Dexter. So I must tell you that this author was born on September 29, 1930 in Stamford, Lincolnshire, England. And he is a well-known writer and is an officer of Order of the British Empire for the services rendered in the field of literature. He is a British crime writer who is known for Inspector Endeavour Morse, who appears in detective novels authored by him. And these novels, written between 1975 and 1999, were adopted as a television series from 1987 to 2000. Dexter has received many awards and accolades, including 2 silver Draggers, 2 gold Draggers, and a Cartier Diamond Dragger for lifetime achievement in 1997. He was conferred with the 1996 Macavity Award for his story Ivan Tries an O Level. So this was about the author. Now we are going to start with the story. First of all, we'll discuss the characters. The main characters in the story are, first is Evans, who is a congenital kleptomaniac and is known as Evans the Break, and he is a genius in planning and is an excellent manipulator. His entire plan is well thought out and each step is calculated, and apart from being clever, Evans is a keen observer, and it is due to his intelligence and presence of mind and cleverness that he is taken out of the prison house by Carter himself, and he is unaware of the fact that the man who is taking out is not the person but Evans himself. And Evans is an excellent actor and understands human psychology very well. He knew that the jail authorities will never think that it was Evans who stayed back and it is McClary who ran away, and he acted so well that nobody doubted him. Another character is the governor. The governor of HM prison is a very intelligent and vigilant person, but at times he overestimates himself, and he is overcautious in Ivan's case, but is too much dependent on his staff and makes hasty conclusions. He is full of ideas, and many a time his hunches prove true, but he never investigates them. Though he is always conscious of Ivan's cleverness, he fails to understand Ivan's psyche. Another character is Jackson. He is a young and alert prison officer. Like the HM prison governor, he is very alert and enthusiastic about his duty. He is very keen and serious, and being Senior is good at giving instructions and order to his subordinate Stephens. Though he looks stern, he is soft at heart and gullible, and he allows Evans to keep his cap on and doesn't doubt him. So these are the main characters in the story. Now we'll discuss the theme of the story. This story is a detective fiction dealing with the account of the jailbreak by Evans, a criminal who was an expert in escaping from prison. And the story deals with his smartness, foresight, and planning his escape. With his meticulous planning and keen observation, Evans outsmarts the prison authorities. And the story deals with the clever escape of Evans and the governor's pursuit to catch him. And Evans, with his ready wit and charm, proves at the end that things are not what they seem to be, and we should not jump to the conclusions hastily. So now let's begin with the chapter. It was in early March when the Secretary of the Examinations Board received the call from Oxford Prison. It's a slightly unusual request, Governor, but I don't see why we shouldn't try to help. Just the one fellow, you say. So in these lines, the word secretary means assistant, unusual means strange, and governor means the chief administrator. So in these lines, in the beginning, it is written that it was the month of March. In the month of March, the Secretary of the Examination Board received a call from Oxford Prison, and he said that it was a strange request, but they wanted to help the person. He also confirmed that there was just one person, as he had said. Then further, the next paragraph says, that's a chap called Evans. Started night classes in O-level German last September, says he. He is dead keen to get some sort of academic qualification. Is he any good? He was the only one in the class, so you can say he's had individual tuition all the time. Really? Would have cost him a packet if he had been outside. Well, let's give him a chance, shall we? That's jolly kind of you. What exactly is the procedure now? Oh, don't worry about that. I'll be sending you all the forms and stuff. What's his name? You say? Evans. James Roderick Evans. It sounded rather grand. Just one thing, Governor. He's not a violent sort of fellow, is he? I don't want to know his criminal record or anything like that. But no, there's no record of violence. Quite a pleasant sort of chap, they tell me. Bit of a card, really. One of the stars at the Christmas concerts. Imitations, you know, the sort of thing. Mike Yarwood stuff. No, he's just a congenital kleptomaniac, that's all. The governor was tempted to add something else, but he thought better of it. He would look after that particular side of thing himself. So now in all these lines, the word academic means educational, qualification means completion of some course, cost him a packet means to cost a lot of money, grand means royal, procedure means method or process, concert is a musical performance, card is a witty or eccentric person, imitation means copying, congenital means natural or inherited, kleptomaniac, it is a very strong wish to steal that you cannot control, and kleptomaniac is a person suffering from kleptomania, and tempted means to have an urge to do something. So in all these lines, the governor, he confirmed that there was only one person for examination named Evans, and he also told him that Evans started taking night classes in O level of German language last September. He was interested in achieving educational qualification. The secretary asked whether Evans was good at studies or not. The governor replied that he was the only one who attended classes. So we can infer that he received individual tuition for the said course. And taking such a class outside the prison would have cost him a lot of money. On hearing this, the secretary agreed to give him a chance. The governor appreciated him for his decision and also asked about the whole process. The secretary replied that he would send all the forms required for the examination, and he asked the prisoner's name, and the governor replied that his name was James Roderick Evans. The secretary also sought clarification whether Evans was a violent person or not. So the governor said that there was no such record and he was a nice guy, a bit humorous, and was a star at the Christmas musical performance. He compared him to the comedian Mike Yarwood because of his copying acts. He also added that he suffered from kleptomania, which urged him to steal. The governor wanted to tell something more but decided that he would keep a check on that. Then further he says, presumably, said the secretary, you can arrange a room where? No problem. He is in a cell on his own. If you have no objections, he can sit the exam in there. That's fine. And we could easily get one of the parsons from St. Mary's Mags to invigilate. Who are parsons? Parsons are the priests. So, further he says, if that's fine, yes, they seem to have a lot of parsons here, there, don't they? The two men chuckled good naturedly, and the secretary had a final thought. At least there's one thing, you shouldn't have much trouble keeping him incommunicado, should you? The governor chuckled politely once more, reiterated his thanks, and slowly cradled the phone. Evans. In all these lines, the word presumably means to assume or believe. Cell is the lockup, or the cell is the room where the prisoners are kept. Objections is complaint. Parsons, as I told you, priest. Saint Mary Mags is the Saint Mary Magdalene or a church in England. Invigilate is supervise. Chuckled means laughed quietly. Incommunicado means not able to or allowed to communicate with other people. And reiterated means repeated. And cradled means rested or placed back. So in these lines, the secretary asked the governor if he could arrange a room for the exam. So the governor replied that there is no such problem because Evans was in his own lockup. So they could conduct the exam there if the secretary had no problem with it. The secretary found it suitable, and the governor also told him that they would call a churchman from the nearby church, St. Mary Mags, who would keep a check on Evans during the examination. So the secretary loved that the church had a good number of priests and one could be assigned the job of supervision. So the secretary questions the governor that if it was easy to stop Evans from communicating with the other person. So the governor laughed and thanked him for accepting his request. He then put the receiver of the phone back on rest and called for Evans. Evans the Break, as the prisoner officer called him. Thrice he'd escaped from prison, and but for the recent wave of unrest in the maximum security establishments up north, he wouldn't now be gracing the governor's premises in Oxford, and the governor was going to make absolutely certain that he wouldn't be disgracing them. Not that Evans was a real burden, just a persistent nagging presence, and he would be all right in Oxford, though the governor would see to it personally, And besides, there was just a possibility that Ivans was genuinely interested in O level German. Just a slight possibility, just a very slight possibility. At 8:30 p.m. on Monday, 7 June, Ivan's German teacher shook him by the hand in the heavily guarded recreational block just across from Guten Glück, Evans. Pardon. I said good luck. Good luck for tomorrow. Oh, thanks. I mean, rank is gone. You haven't a cat in hell's chance of getting through, of course, but I may surprise everybody, said Evans. So now in these lines, the word escape means run away or get free. Establishment means setting up or building. Grace means bring honor or credit to someone. Premises means building or site. Persistent means continuous. Nagging means irritation. Genuine means real or actual. Recreation means relaxation or fun. Guten Glück means it is a German language word for good luck. Herr means German language word for Mr. Pardon means a request to a speaker to repeat something because one did not hear or understand it. Dankskorn means German language word for thank you very much or thank you kindly. Haven't a cat in hell's chance means to be completely unable to achieve something. So, in all these lines, we see that Evans had escaped from prison thrice. Due to the recent unrest in the highly guarded areas of the north, he would not be allowed to be present at the governor's residence in Oxford. So the governor did not want to be disgraced by Evans. Evans was not a burden, but his presence was uncomfortable. The governor planned to supervise him personally when he visited Oxford. It was possible that Evans was actually interested in adding up to his qualification by learning German. And on 7th of June, Monday, at 8:30 p.m., the German teacher shook hands with Evans. That was the last day of Evans' lesson from the German teacher. So he shook hands with the teacher at the high security recreational block which was across the D wing, and he wished him luck in German language, but Evans could not understand it. Later Evans realized it and thanked the teacher. The teacher commented that Evans was not prepared and did not even have the slightest chance to pass the exam. And on this, Evans said that it was possible that he cleared the exam and would surprise everyone. So he just accepted the challenge of the teacher and told him that he is going to surprise everyone by getting through. Then further, it is said that at 8:30 the following morning, Evans had a visitor. Two visitors, in fact. He tucked his grubby string vest into his equally grubby trousers. Grubby is very dirty. Vest is the undergarment, and stood up from his bunk, smiling cheerfully. Morning, Mr. Jackson. This is indeed an honor. Jackson was the senior prison officer on D Wing, and he and Evans had already become warm enemies. At Jackson's side stood Officer Stephens, a burly, surly looking man. That means a strongly built man, only recently recruited to the profession. Jackson nodded curtly. Curtly means rudely. And how's a little Einstein this morning then? Wasn't he a mathematician, Mr. Jackson? I think he was a Jew, Mr. Jackson. Ivan's face was unshaven, and he wore the filthy looking red and white bobble hat upon his head. Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave when you bust in. So in all these lines, the word tugged means push. Grubby, as I told you, is dirty. Bunk is the narrow bed attached to the wall. And burly means large and strong man. Surly is bad tempered and unfriendly. Recruited means appointed. Curtly, short, brief, or rudely. Filthy means the very dirty. So here in these lines, they said that the next morning at 8:30, Evans was visited by two men. He tucked his dirty string vest into his dirty trousers and stood up from his bed that was attached to the wall, which is called as a bunk. He greeted Mr. Jackson cheerfully and said that it was an honor for him that he visited his cell early in the morning. And Jackson was a senior prison officer of Deving, where Evans was kept, and both Jackson and Evans were enemies. Mr. Stephens, who was a newly appointed officer and a strong looking man, had come along with Mr. Jackson. Jackson greeted him briefly and then asked him about his well being and made fun of him by calling him Einstein. And on this, Evans replied in a similar way by pointing him out that Einstein was a mathematician, and then said that he thought that he was a Jew. Evans had not shaved and he was wearing a very dirty hat on his head. He asked Jackson to excuse him as he was going to shave when both of them entered his cell. Then further, the next paragraph says, which reminds me, Jackson turned his eyes on Stephens. Make sure you take his razor out of the cell when he's finished scraping that ugly mug of his. Clear. One of these days he'll do us all a favor and cut his bloody throat. For a few seconds, Evans looked thoughtfully at the man standing Ramrod. Ramrod is here a very strict supervisor. Ramrod, straight in front of him, a string of Second World War medals proudly paraded over his left breast pocket. Mr. Jackson, was it you who took my nail scissors away? Evans had always worried about his hands. So in these lines, the word scraping means to remove unwanted covering, or you can say shaving. Mug is a person's face. Ramrod, strict supervisor. Paraded means lined. Nail scissors means nail cutter. So in these lines, it is said that after hearing him, Jackson and Stephen, that this reminded him that Stephen should take away his razor as soon as he had completed shaving his ugly looking face. And he also added that one day Evans would do a favor for the prison officer by cutting down his throat with a razor. Then Evans gave a thoughtful look at his strict supervisor, who had medals from the Second World War lined up on his left side of his blazer on the breast pocket. He asked him, Mr. Jackson, was it you who took away my nail cutter? So Evans was always worried about how his hands looked. Then further, the next paragraph says, and you nail file too. Look for a moment. Evans' eyes smoldered dangerously, but Jackson was ready for him. Orders of the governor, Evans. He leaned forward and leered, his voice dropping to a harsh, contemptuous whisper. You want to complain? Evans shrugged his shoulders lightly. The crisis was over. You've got half an hour to smarten yourself up, Evans, and take that bloody hat off. Me at her. Evans put his right hand lovingly on top of the filthy woolen and smiled sadly. Do you know, Mr. Jackson, it's the only thing that's ever brought me any sort of luck in life. Kind o' lucky charm, if you know what I mean. And today I thought, well, with me exam and all that, buried somewhere in Jackson was a tiny core of compassion, and Evans knew it. So in all these lines, the word smoldered means here in this line or in the story means glowed with anger. Lean means bent forward. Leered is watched or stared. Contemptuous means disrespectful. Shrugged means disregarded or dismissed. And compassion is sympathy. So in these lines, it is said that Jackson, he replied that he took his nail file too. And Evans at this got very angry and his eyes started glowing with anger. Then Jackson was ready for this and he answered that it was the governor's order. Then he bent towards him and asked in a whisper whether he wanted to complain. And on this, Evans denied by moving his shoulders. Then Jackson told Evans that he had only half an hour to get ready and also told him to remove his dirty hat. So on this, Evans moved his hand towards his dirty woolen hat and smiled sadly. He told Mr. Jackson that he wanted to take it with him as it was his lucky charm. Evans knew that Jackson was sympathetic towards him. So we can say that Evans was a very keen observer. So for today we are going to read up till here, and in the next class we are going to continue with the story. Thank you and goodbye.